Hey, Pat Rigsby here with another episode of The Winning Coach, and today I want to talk about building around what won't change. Let's get to it. I spend a lot of my life kind of one foot into the business world, one foot into the coaching sport world and the baseball side, and the parallels are always interesting to me, right? Like right now in both sides, there's this really strong push towards technology, towards AI, towards analytics. In both sides, I think sometimes we act as if we're a little bit too smart for our own good, when the reality is the fundamentals, the foundational stuff of what we do really hasn't changed in decades, and in some cases closer to a century, right? If I think about this on the baseball side, baseball, I mean, it's not super complicated if we zoom out, right? It is run creation, run prevention, talent acquisition, talent development, culture creation to maximize the potential of that talent. I mean, that's kind of all it is, right? And everybody wants to look for the latest, greatest technology, and they act like that's new, and everybody who preceded them was some sort of dunce or something like that. But, I think that relative to the landscape that people are in, they're always doing that. I think that you can look back and see innovative people like Branch Rickey securing their own, his own spring training facility in Vero Beach, Dodger Town, instead of just going and renting a place. So he could actually kind of curate the entire environment that he wanted. He had a statistician aggregating statistics that other people weren't measuring at the time. He went outside the norms of baseball and brought Jackie Robinson in. Is maybe the most relevant and important talent acquisition move in the history of professional sports through integration. So, I mean, this is the fact that we're doing this stuff now is not new. It's just that technology continues to evolve, and we apply that to those same kind of fundamentals. It's all still, how do we get the right people? How do we develop them? How do we create this environment where they gel into a team? How do we maximize run creation? How do we improve or maximize run prevention? On the business side, again, we see it all the time. People think that they're geniuses because they figured out whatever the latest algorithm shift is, or how to maximize a meta ad or a TikTok video or whatever. But still, we need to acquire clients or members. We need to deliver the result through an experience they enjoy. We need to do that stuff profitably while elevating ourselves to the role that we want to play as owners. Beyond that, it's all tactics and tools. It's whatever is relevant to the marketplace now. And sure, circumstances evolve. The marketplace, their preferences change, right? In the training world now, there's a little bit more maturity and awareness through the training world than there was when I first got involved. When I first got involved in the personal training side of things, most people that I would encounter had never worked in a coach-led fitness environment. When we would sign new personal training clients, and in my first training business, in the first 18 months, we were well over 400 clients. But we were in a market of 28-ish thousand people. There were, a couple other small communities around that. We probably had 15 or 20 people total who had ever had a trainer before, of that 420 original clients. Now, most of the training gyms that I speak with the owner of, most of their clientele have worked in some sort of coach-led environment before. And a lot of that was just the emergence of things like Groupon, where people could sample things inexpensively, a lot of group training environments, whereas when I got into this, it was usually one-on-one. And so it's just a lot more normalized. And so buyer preferences have changed, buyer experience has changed. And so we have to continue to evolve in how we market, but it doesn't change the fact that we still have to acquire clients, we still have to deliver something to them that they're excited about and they enjoy, and we have to be able to do that profitably and ultimately move into a role that we want to play. So when we think about business, when we think about coaching, all of it, like if we're smart, we're going to pull back and we're going to look at the fundamentals. What are the things that truly matter? So we don't get caught up in thinking the tactic, the trend, that's the actual fundamental. We don't think that I'm good at this one social media platform before the algorithm changes. So there's this one moment in time that I feel like I've cracked the code. That's not the business. That's just a tactic, right? What is the business? What is a fundamental is that I'm going to have to connect with people and create a relationship, because the fact that people want to feel connected, they want to feel important, they want to feel valued and appreciated, that's not going away. That's not going to change in the next 10 years. It's not going to change in the next 100 years, because we can look back centuries and see that that was prevalent in society long, long ago. So it's going to be prevalent for as long as you and I are involved in what we're doing. So when we're looking at what matters, what works, what's durable, I think you start with the fundamentals and then you say, okay, what tools are available to me now? What trends are relevant now? What is the marketplace? Whether I'm recruiting athletes, whether I'm trying to go acquire clients, what does the marketplace want right now? What's relevant to them? What are the consumer preferences? And we layer that onto the fundamentals. We don't think it replaces the fundamentals. And I think that once you figure that out, you're going to be able to weather all the storms that come our way. Because if I look at both landscapes that I'm pretty heavily involved in, man, it's turbulent. It is. In the business side of things, there are more franchises, more competitors, more alternatives available than there have ever been by many multiples. The way that people choose has continued to evolve because there are a whole lot more choices available. The approach that businesses take to connect with and retain clients continues to evolve. I mean, all that stuff is changing over and over and over, and what people kind of are gravitating towards continues to change too. Whereas on the baseball side, and I think this is true for all of like college athletics, with NIL, transfer portal stuff, there's constant flux. Things are constantly evolving, and I pay a disproportionate amount of attention to it because I have a 15-year-old son who is on the front end of having to worry about that stuff. So in both of those worlds, so many things are changing, but the underlying fundamentals haven't. The underlying foundation hasn't. And so if you build around that underlying foundation, you're going to be able to weather the storm. You're going to be able to navigate the changes, the turbulence, all the different things that come your way. But if you don't, and if you're just chasing the next shiny object, the odds of you being successful in the future probably aren't very good, because there are going to be competitors out there who figure it out and say, okay, this is what the foundation actually should look like, and this is how I make the most of the trends, the tools, the circumstances available to me now. So if you want to build something that lasts, build around the things that don't change.